One thing that you can do to customize your box is using the router. It'll take these sharp 90-degree edges and smooth them over and have them curved. So I think I'm going to do that to my top and my bottom piece. With the table router, you always want to be moving in the opposite direction of the way that the bit is turning, and that gives you all the control. If you try to go the same direction as the bit, it has a tendency to pull your piece of wood away from you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and definitely keep your fingers away from this area, and never move your piece onto the other side of the blade because you're leaning over the blade and you could cut your arm or your finger or something like that. So all of my edges look great except for right here, so I'm probably going to go around one more time. And that looks much nicer. So again, you always want to be moving your hands to get a good grip on the wood, but also to keep your fingers away from the blade. So that's one. I'm going to do this piece as well. So this is just a little bit of fuzz, and that's fine. We can take that off with the hand sander or the palm sander or just with sandpaper. So that's all I'm going to do on the table router. You're welcome to do any of the pieces that you like, but now I'm going to go over to the belt sander and do a little more customization. And I'm also going to flatten my box so that when I glue, everything will sit nice and flat. All right, see you over there. Now that our box is dry, we can go ahead and take this tape off. And what we're going to do is sand these edges here and here. And what that'll do is it'll make it nice and flush when we go to glue it to our bottom. I'm going to be using this belt sander. And if you have any questions or are interested in learning more about any of the tools that I'm using, please see our video on the Woodshop introduction, and it'll give you all kinds of information on the machines and how to use them safely and properly. So for the belt sander, of course, I'm going to use my dust collector or my vacuum, and then I'm going to be sanding and going against the direction that the sandpaper is moving. And I'm also going to be flipping it upside down and doing that as well. And I'm going to do it to both sides. So you saw I was holding with two hands and keeping my piece of wood on the table at all times. So that's it. These are nice and flush and nice and flat now. Now I can move on to customization. One thing that kids like to do is to use the belt sander to round these corners. So I'm just going to do that a little bit as an example. Flip it over. All right, and this is a good place to start. Now I can take my hand sandpaper or my hand palm sander and just get those edges really nice and even. I can also use this technique to round these corners as well. And then I have this purple heart that I'm going to use as my handle, and I can do that as well. right, so all my pieces are ready, they're sanded, and I can go ahead and do any finishing touches with my hand sandpaper or my palm sander, and then I'll be all set to glue. Now I'm going to do any of my sanding or finishing work before I glue it together and before I do any stain. So I have an orbital sander with a 120 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to get rid of any of this stuff from the router. I'm just going to make everything nice and smooth and even and get rid of any scratches or anything like that. All right, and this piece doesn't really matter because it goes on the inside of our box, but I can just hit it real quick. Just for continuity. And I'm going to change my 120 to 220. And now this won't remove any material, but it'll make my wood nice and soft. All right, and I can just get this a little bit. It doesn't need very much. So that's just to remove any extra burrs or anything like that. All right, so now I have all my pieces. They're all ready, and I can start to glue. Now I'm ready to glue all my pieces together. I think I'm going to start with my plug, and I'm going to decide which one is my top and my bottom. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter for me. My plug goes on the inside here, and you can take your box to try to decide where you want that plug to be. I usually just by eye. I'm pretty good at that. You want to put your glue on your accent piece, not on your top piece, because you don't know exactly where it's going to be. So I'll just glue, spread it out. Flip it. And this glue, before it starts to get tacky, is very viscous. So that means it'll try to move around if you put too much pressure on it. So just hold it lightly for just a couple seconds, up to 2 minutes. And then when you're done and you know that it's sticky after about 5 minutes, then you can turn it over. So I'm just going to let that sit here. I'll erase my measurements off there. And while that starts to get tacky, I can go ahead and glue my box to my bottom. Try not to use too much glue. It'll get pushed out, but that's okay. We can wipe it. Okay. And I'll position this on my bottom. Okay, same thing. Don't apply too much pressure. It'll move around. I'm going to move that to the side. I'm going to get a paper towel. Okay. So this piece should be ready to be able to be flipped over. Again, I'm not going to put too much pressure on it. I don't want it to be moving around. This is going to be my accent piece. That looks pretty good. Make sure I put the glue on this side. If you have time with your instructor, you might be able to do some wood stains. We have different colors like red and pink and blue and walnut. And if you have even more extra time after that, sometimes we like to go on the laser so we can really customize our boxes. Right? Just a little bit of pressure. You can also tape these pieces down while they dry, and that'll prevent them from moving around on you. Last is my handle. I want to be really careful, I'll wait until that dries or gets tacky to add this, but I think I will be okay. That looks great. Push down. All right, not too much. All right. Now I'm going to let all these pieces dry. It'll take about 20-25 minutes before they won't be able to be moved out of their place, and about overnight to be fully cured. If I want, I can use my paper towel, wipe away any glue. And that'll be it. Like I said, you can tape these pieces down if you want, but I'm just going to leave them right here and let them dry. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me for the Keepsake box in level 2. I'm really excited for when you guys come here and make your own Keepsake boxes, because everybody makes something different, and it's always fun and exciting to see what people do. So thanks again. My name is Miss Heather, and this is level 2 at Urban Workshop. Have a great day.